All right. And we are live. I had a little trouble starting the show for some reason. Anyway, I want to thank everybody that's joined us. I see Laurel in the chat, Laura Rossman and Marvin Gersowich and Caitlin and just the facts, man. He will be on in a little bit. Yeah, Dan will be joining us shortly. And I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank everyone to subscribe to the show. I want to welcome any new subscribers that want to subscribe. This should be pretty interesting tonight. It's a little bit different. We're going to be changing up the format a little bit different going forward, even, and trying some new things. But tonight, we're going to be talking about the greatest variety show of all time, the Ed Sullivan Show. Now, the Ed Sullivan Show ran from 1948 to 1971. And like I said already, this was a variety show. You never knew what you were going to see. You might see Jim Henson's Muppets. You might see Broadway actors. You might see sports figures. Any and everybody came on this variety show. It was for everybody, from kids to adults. Everybody loved the Ed Sullivan Show. I used to watch it with my family. It was very, very popular. It ended in 1971. That was actually the year I graduated high school. But we're mainly going to just focus or entirely be focused on the insane amount of rock bands that were on the Ed Sullivan Show. And I'm going to start with the Beatles. And I'm starting with the Beatles because they performed there many, many times. Ed Sullivan and his crew saw them at Heathrow Airport in England and saw the reaction of the fans and said, "We got to get these guys on our show." So, where were you? Where were you in February 1964? Well, if you were like 73 million other Americans, you were sitting in front of your television set watching the Beatles, their debut performance in the United States on the Ed Sullivan Show. And my wife tells a funny story. Betty was 9 years old in 1964, and one of her older sisters, Jeannie, was 17 years old, and she remembers Jeannie bouncing up and down on the living room floor, screaming and crying as the Beatles were performing. Betty really didn't even know what was going on. She was unprepared for this, but her sister was screaming and crying over the Beatles performance. I think that's a great story. But the Beatles performed many, many times, three consecutive Sundays alone in February. And their appearances, let's see, they were a milestone in American pop culture and the beginning of the British invasion. The Beatles came here and performed on Ed Sullivan multiple times, but it opened the door. Hold on. We got a guest joining us. Hey, Daddy Boggs, how you doing?
Hi, everybody.
As you know, we're talking about the Ed Sullivan Show. And at this moment, I'm talking about the first performance of the Beatles, February 9th, 1964. And as I was saying, they opened the door for the British invasion and all those wonderful British bands that followed, many of which played on the Ed Sullivan Show as well. I mean, the Rolling Stones, the Dave Clark Five, Herman's Hermits, Ferry Across the Mersey. I mean, the list there were hundreds. There's top 100 lists of the British invasion. But anyway, it was just amazing. Like I was saying, if you were like 73 other Americans, you were watching the Beatles on February 9th on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1964. Okay, so moving forward, they played, they played on the show. We also had people like Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis were there, Rodgers and Hammerstein, a pianist, a ballerina, a troupe of crooning firemen. I mean, it was a variety show. Like I said, you never knew what you were going to see. He broke all TV single night ratings when a young Elvis Presley swiveled that famous pelvis on the Ed Sullivan Show. And Ed Sullivan claimed that he told Elvis he couldn't do that, and then they weren't filming it. But in reality, was they did film his swaying pelvis. And there was some competition between Sullivan and some other artists, some other variety shows that had Elvis on. So they quickly booked him. But most of Americans got their first appearance of the Beatles from the historic Ed Sullivan Show, February 9th, 64. Like I said, the most highly anticipated show ever. And they opened with "All My Loving." In the second Beatles performance, they opened for Miami Beach, where Cassius Clay was training for a fight. And they actually, he was training for a fight with Sonny Liston. And they actually turned Cassius into sort of part of the show. So the third performance, that was the second performance. The third performance was September 12th, 1965, where he had a 60% share of the nighttime audience for that one performance. And Beatles started out with I Feel Fine, I'm Down, I'm Really Down, Act Naturally, and then closed the show with Ticket to Ride, Yesterday, and Help. Okay. So, all right, let's talk about Elvis Presley now. Elvis Presley actually predated the Beatles. He was in September 1956. Did you watch the Ed Sullivan Show, Don?
Oh, sure. It's a big show on Sunday night.
The Ed Sullivan Show was a big show. Yeah. Hi, Brother Richie. How you doing?
Hi,
Doing
Rich.
good.
We're talking about, of course, the Ed Sullivan Show.
Before we go on, I just want to tell Richie that song that stumped us was Games People Play.
That's right. I figured it out after that. Games People Play. Yeah. Can't get
Hey,
no rest.
while we're talking, I want to welcome Angela to the show. I want to welcome Michael Nolan, the bottom line, to the show. And Michael, if you'd like to join us, I'll go ahead and put a link up for you. We're talking about the Ed Sullivan Show and all the iconic performances. Let me just throw up a link, Michael. I'd love to have you on. Just give me 1 second. All right, Michael, there's a link if you want to jump on here and talk about all the iconic band performances on Ed Sullivan with this. Help us out. That would be awesome. Okay, so Elvis actually, and we were all Elvis fans, right, Richie? I mean, Dad had an Elvis album, that Gold album, maybe some others too, I think. Yeah, he had the one with Jailhouse Rock and all that on it.
I wasn't really real big on Elvis till I got a little older.
Oh, okay. Well, I know
I liked him, of course. Everybody did, but
yeah,
I really didn't realize how great he was until I got older. And I started playing his music too.
And you started, you were in a couple of Elvis not tribute, but I mean,
Elvis. I worked for 2 different Elvis impersonators.
Right.
There was Charles David Snow was one of them, and the other guy was Dana McKay.
That's
crazy.
Great.
It was fun though. One of them, we had one of Elvis's drummers that he had for years.
Really?
Yeah, they called him Nardo.
That's not the guy that comes on your show sometimes, is it?
No. That's John. John was. I started playing with John later on. Remember, I was with Faye.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
John was in that band for a while.
Oh, I see.
And then he played with me a few other times, a few gigs here and there,
Okay.
But he was a good, tight drummer.
Was he? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so we had, as I was saying, the Beatles spawned the British invasion. And I don't know if I did a good enough job listing all the other things, but some of the bands that followed the Beatles, I'll mention them, but we'll go into them in a little more depth in a bit here. We had the Rolling Stones, the Doors, Janis Joplin, Marvin Gaye, Bob Dylan. Now, wait a minute. Bob Dylan canceled. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes here. Bob Dylan canceled his performance. And anyway, let's see.
You were just talking about Elvis.
The Stones were banned temporarily also. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, it says the performance that nearly never happened. Earlier that year, Sullivan had declared Elvis to be unfit for family viewing due to his pelvic gyrations.
Right.
Well, I could have never been on there then, I tell you. My pelvic gyrations are just outrageous.
Oh my God, I know. I've heard.
Right.
I don't know if I've heard.
But that's what you're gonna get. But they put him on there, obviously.
Right on.
I was going to say, I think there was one time they only showed them from the waist up.
Yeah,
that's right. The first time, that's all they did.
Yeah, and that's what Sullivan tried to say he did, but it wasn't true. They filmed him his entire body. So he was competing with another variety show that had just had Elvis on, and so he wasn't about to pull any punches.
I bet you they couldn't have Tina Turner on there.
No, I haven't seen her on any of the lists.
She had some gyrations too. I would tell you a story about my friend seeing Tina Turner in the front row, but I don't think it'd be appropriate.
Okay. Well, there was well, I mean, well, whatever you want to do, just don't get us.
Well, he said Tina Turner was, she's going crazy up there dancing, and she had this little micro mini on,
Okay.
and he said she didn't have any underwear on.
Oh, is that right? she's up on a higher stage.
That was my friend. He was a drummer in my band, and he for a little while. His name was Chris Bell. I don't know if he was telling the truth or not. He was one of the storyteller kind of guys, but it was a crack up though what he said.
Well, we were just talking. That is a crack up for sure. I've heard other stories like that about Vegas performances as well.
No wonder Ike was beating her up. Huh? No wonder Ike was slapping her around all the time. He said, "Put some underwear on, damn it!" No.
Yeah, I mean, we had no idea what was going on, right? Hey,
okay,
JB
I'm done.
There. Hey, JB, how you doing, buddy? And Mary Jane and Angela. Okay, listen. So Elvis went on the Ed Sullivan Show, and there was a really heated rivalry between Ed Sullivan, and Steve Allen. And Allen had the singer on July 1st, and he trounced Sullivan in the ratings. So when asked to comment,
the talk show host.
But when asked to comment, Sullivan said he wouldn't even consider presenting Presley before a family audience. Less than 2 weeks later, he changed his mind and signed the contract for Elvis to come on. And he started with "Love Me Tender," and went through a bunch of other great songs. But anyway, so and he was gyrating, and it was filmed. Yeah. So okay.
They talked to Elvis. Elvis had an interview about that, the way he danced or the way he moved and stuff.
Yeah.
And they asked him, "Are you doing that on purpose, or, for the women or whatever?" I can't remember the exact question. And he said, "No, wait a minute. No, that's just the way I feel the music. I can't do it very well. That's just the way I feel the music," he said. That's just the way I feel the music. So,
right.
Hey, that's just
for Elvis's first set. I'll just throw some of his songs out there. He sang "Don't Be Cruel," "Love Me Tender." Let's see. Then he went on to sing. Must have been the second set. "Ready Teddy," the shortened version of "Hound Dog." Popular mythology states that Sullivan censored Presley by shooting him only from the waist up. I already mentioned that, but in fact, Presley's whole body was shown for the first and second shows that he was on.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, then I think they went waist up after that. I saw him that night. I saw the Beatles and Elvis. We used to watch the Ed Sullivan Show every Sunday night, man.
Right.
Ever since we were,
No, yeah, I know. We did, yeah. And so
Elvis, Jack Benny, you had Red Skelton, Jack Benny, Jack Parr,
everybody,
Johnny Carson.
Yes.
All these shows.
All of them. He had everybody in the world.
Also, Johnny Carson was a stand-up before he had his own show?
No, he sat behind the desk with guests on.
Oh, okay. All righty.
Yeah. Well, he had like Dean Martin.
He had a monologue at the beginning.
Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis on when they were a comedy team, before Dino was a big singing star. But, Elvis had second and third performances as well. The songs I mentioned were on the first two performances. The third performance, he did a medley of "Hound Dog," "Love Me Tender," "Heartbreak Hotel," and those were good songs. I like those are very good songs. He did a full version of "Don't Be Cruel" for the second set later in the show. "Too Much" and "When My Blue Moon Turns Gold Again." So anyway, Elvis had multiple performances.
Oh man,
on Ed Sullivan. And let's see. Now I want to talk for a minute about Bob Dylan. Okay, Bob Dylan actually would have predated the Beatles. He was invited in 1963 to be on the Ed Sullivan Show, and he actually showed up to perform. They hadn't said anything him prior to that night where he was going to perform, but they came to him and said they didn't want him to play a particular song. He had just come out with his second album, you know, with the classics, "Blowing in the Wind," one of maybe my favorite Bob Dylan song, and you know, it was covered by Peter, Paul, and Mary. "Don't Think Twice," "It's All Right," "A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall." I love all those songs, but he wasn't interested in performing those songs. What he wanted to perform, he was really down on some political leaders, and there was a song he made about talking John Birch Society blues, and that it kind of lampooned the anti-communist organization of that name, the John Birch Society.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a secretive organization. But anyway, so they finally told him when he was getting ready to go on that the CBS executives decided that he could not do that song, and he packed up his gear and left. Bob Dylan just left, you know, and
He had some serious attitude in those days, huh?
he passed on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Serious attitude.
It became bigger news than the actual booking, and because no one turned down Ed Sullivan. Sullivan was like the king, but he passed on it and he left. So anyway, in addition to those, you know, iconic stars that we're all very familiar with, there was Ed Sullivan really gave a lot of black performers an opportunity, you know, in the days when that wasn't that common, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, the show started in 48 and ran through 71. And we're going back, you know, deep into the Chitlin circuit, you know.
Well, we need to get back to some earlier times then here.
Yeah, no, it started really early.
I saw that 48.
You know, the Supremes, Diana Ross and the Supremes. I don't know why I've been getting so tongue-tied lately, but Diana Ross and the Supremes were like a favorite of Ed Sullivan's. And, you know, the Supremes were singing, you know, "My World is Empty Without You." They had 14 appearances. The Supremes appeared 14 times on the Ed Sullivan Show. I think that's pretty remarkable because that was a very popular show. You could watch everything on that show. You could watch Broadway performers would come on, opera singers would come on, jugglers would come on, you know.
Magicians, yeah.
Yeah, bears riding bicycles, you name it. Everything in the world came on that show. And once again, we're just focusing on, let's see, Michael Nolan. I got to get some of this stuff up here. Okay. Got some good comments, and I've been so busy talking. How Sullivan treated Bo Diddley was abysmal. Okay, well, I'm not familiar with that story, Michael. Thank you. Something on the Moody Blues soon. Okay, let's see. Marvin, what has Marvin got here? CBS in 71 completely buried every show. They had to rebuild the network to draw 10 to 25-year-old market. Okay, thanks, Marvin. We appreciate hearing that. I think.
Wasn't there a couple of years ago Bob Dylan turned down a Nobel Peace Prize?
You know, I really don't know about that. I really don't know. Not too many people turn down prizes like that.
Yeah.
Marlon Brando turned down an Oscar for The Godfather because of the treatment of American Indians. That was kind of that was a little bit shocking, if you ask me. Okay, looks like Michael might be clarifying. He told Diddley that you're the first black boy that ever double-crossed me, racist and a control freak. Okay, well, thank you. We're sitting here glorifying this guy, and there's some things that we really don't know about him. Thank you, Michael. James Roeder's throwing in dancing bears, plate spinners, and that's exactly right. Yeah. You could see anything, and on any given night, several different things. Of course, that was ongoing. Okay,
about Siegfried and Roy, was that possible? Siegfried and Roy on this show? The Lion Tamers? Well,
they would have been around, yeah, because they were playing in Vegas when I lived out there in 71. Yeah. Dylan won the Nobel Prize for Literature, but I don't think he showed up to accept it. Yeah. Thank you, Nathaniel. We appreciate your input here. Ever notice Lennon could never get the words exactly right? Well, thank you. I mean, on a personal note, since I've been so tongue-tied the last couple of shows, I appreciate that. Appreciate Lennon and I had something in common, other than our voices and our musicianship and our songwriting abilities. Okay. Okay. No off air when Diddley did what he wanted to sing. Okay. No off air when Diddley did what he wanted to sing. Okay. Thank you, Michael. All right, so yeah, we're getting some terrific input from the chat. I want to thank everybody, and you know that really makes the show. Everybody chiming in like this. Okay.
Here's, the Animals was on. They were on in 19. What is it?
Eric Burden.
1965.
Eric Burden and the Animals. Okay, thanks, Richie. I'll tell you what. I'm not sure there's too many bands I like from the British Invasion more than I like Eric Burden and the Animals. I love that band. I have that stuff on my iTunes library, all Eric Burden stuff. I have multiple anti-war protest songs by Eric Burden, Sky Pilot, and some others on a separate list of protest songs. But Ed Sullivan, I recognize.
Check it out, just for a second.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
Okay.
All right. Okay. That was a good one. I didn't even know they did that one.
Yeah, James, the Doors did play, and we'll be getting to that in a couple of minutes. And what the outcome,
I got it, man.
What the outcome of that was.
Right now. All right.
So okay, I'm gonna get back to listen to some of the black artists. Like I said, the Supremes had 14 appearances on the Ed Sullivan Show. I mean, that's pretty
good, man.
I mean, yeah.
Wasn't Eric Clapton in the Cream?
Derek and the Dominoes.
I did not read about the Cream playing. Okay. Well, but the show included, performers like Louis Armstrong, Pearl Bailey, Laverne Baker. I'm skipping here, reading ones that stand out, but James Brown and the Famous Flames, Cab Calloway, Godfrey Cambridge, Ray Charles, Nat King Cole, Bill Cosby, everyone's favorite. Whatever. I love the liner notes he put on the back of the Temptations' greatest hits. You guys all have to read.
You're going probably a little further back, aren't you?
Well, Bill Cosby, Count Basie, Dorothy Dandridge, Sammy Davis Jr., who performed at my high school. He was friends with a teacher. So he came
Sammy
out.
Davis did?
Yes.
That's probably before I hit high school.
Yeah. In the cafeteria. Yeah, it was, because I was a sophomore. You were still in junior high.
Right.
Anyway, so Sammy Davis was good friends with an African-American teacher at our school, and he came out, and we all went to the cafeteria. The bleachers were put up like we're at a basketball game, and he stood up there and told stories and sang songs. It was fantastic. I think he was even standing in the middle of the cafeteria smoking cigarettes.
No shit, that's funny.
Yeah.
Sammy, did you do Mr. Bojangles?
Yeah, he did.
Well, you were mentioning TV appearances. You take the Dick Clark Show. Freddie Cannon was on 111 times.
You're kidding.
Yeah, 111 times.
I got a list of all these shows like the Dick Clark Show. I mean, well, some of them a little more modern, Dick Clark, MTV, Axis, Soul Train. I've got a big list here. That was almost tonight's show. Yeah. A list of all these shows that had performers on it.
Shindig, Hullabaloo.
Hullabaloo, Soul Train. Yeah. And who? J-Lo. She was part of the What Dancers?
Who's that?
J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez. She danced on a show that was on. I probably have it right here. Let me just see. It was the If I don't have it here, I'll give up. So solid gold dancers. Jennifer Lopez was a solid gold dancer.
No kidding.
And also our local dance teacher, who had a couple of different dance studios, one here in Atascadero, one out in San Luis Obispo, very, very popular. Her daughter was a solid gold dancer. And all three of my daughters took tap, jazz, and ballet at her studio. And we'd go to their performances and stuff. Anyway, that was
Marilyn McCoo, right? Who hosted the show?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't think she hosted it by herself. I think there was, let's see here.
She had Andy Kim on.
Diane Warwick, Andy Gibbs, and Marilyn McCoo. That's right. Okay. So anyway, we were going through a list of performers.
That's the one where Burt Bacharach wrote all her songs.
Oh, okay.
Dionne Warwick.
We stopped at Sammy Davis Jr. We'll pick it up with Bo Diddley, Duke Ellington, the Fifth Dimension, Ella Fitzgerald, the Four Tops. I saw them twice in concert. I love the Four Tops. You know, Bernadette, Seven Rooms of Gloom. I mean, just blockbusters. They were fantastic. What voices. Okay, so that was the Four Tops, Dick Gregory, W.C. Handy, Lena Horne, the Jackson 5.
Jackson 5, yeah.
B.B. King. BB's in there. Gladys Knight.
B.B. King, he was on everything since 1930 something, I think. Yeah. He's been going. He's the he's some of the roots of the blues, you know.
Yeah, he's some of the roots, right? I think he was at the crossroads with.
You know, if you really look back at all those guys that played with a spoon when they tuned their guitar to a chord and they played slide guitar with the spoon, you know, stuff like that. Some of those old time blues guys.
Oh, they played it with the beer bottle, you name it, you know.
Yeah, BB must have been jamming with those guys, you know.
He probably was.
Yep.
You know, I was listening to the Allman Brothers at the Fillmore East, these live performances, and you talk about a band being on that game.
I'm gonna give you my address. I'm gonna put my address up, Daddy. You can send me that shirt. I'll forever be thankful. Is it an extra large?
Dwayne Allman at this Fillmore East live performance. It's a double tape set. I only got through the first tape today. It was part of my 160 CD haul that was given to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, the slide playing by Dwayne Allman. Dwayne Allman, I believe, got killed in a motorcycle accident at a very young age.
Dwayne, yeah, he was only like 22 or something, right?
Really young. He taught Eric Clapton how to play slide guitar, who later went on to play, slide guitar for George Harrison While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Oh, yeah.
As a trade with George Harrison helping him write a song.
I seen what's Eric Clapton do that song and sing it before on TV or something.
Oh,
My Guitar Gently Weeps, you know.
Well, I want to say hi to Gary Spring, who's joined us. Shindig was a TV show with good old acts. That's right, Shindig. I haven't heard of Shindig.
Is that one? I don't remember. I must have been in diapers when that came on. I'll be back.
Well, you remember the Monkees and then Paul Revere and the Raiders. I think that was called Hullabaloo or something like that every Saturday morning.
There was another show called Where the Action Is.
Yeah.
And Freddie Cannon had the hit song on it. Oh, baby, come on. Let me show you where the action is.
Oh, yeah, that's right, huh?
It's Freddie Cannon.
Look at this. This is funny, James. Mutual Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
I would have to say that fits in often.
We used to watch that on right before Walt Disney on Sunday night.
You have on YouTube, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, an all-star band with George Harrison's son and Prince. Have you ever seen that video? It's fantastic.
I've watched that video. I'm going to guess 7-8 times.
Okay.
And that was a Rock Hall of Fame induction that night.
With George Harrison's son on stage.
Danny, spelled D-A-N-I.
Yeah. Prince kind of stole the show at the end when he started playing.
When he did that solo and then threw the Telecaster over his head onto the stage. Right. Yeah, Danny Harrison was there. Jeff Lynne was there. Of course, Tom Petty was there. Let's see, playing keyboards was Stevie Winwood. Stevie Winwood was playing keyboards. And it was really, and a lot of those people were being inducted that night. Tom Petty was being inducted. George Harrison, posthumously, his son was there playing acoustic guitar with the band. Danny's, spelled D-A-N-I, probably because of all the time they spent in India. Wasn't your traditional American D-A-N-N-Y like all the Dannys I grew up with. Danny Alaris, people like that, you know.
Danny Alaris, right?
We won't go any further than that. But anyway,
I used to see Danny Alaris around Henderson before I left.
Yeah. Well, I think he stole half the shit out of my bedroom. But anyway, we won't go into that.
Yeah.
I caught him at my bedroom window when I was sleeping, and he was eyeballing my stereo with the window open. Anyway, enough said there, as I've already mentioned. So anyway, so let's get back. We were reading off some of the African American artists that Ed Sullivan brought on, and let's see. Okay, we had. I think we stopped at Little Anthony and the Imperials. We didn't say them. Johnny Mathis. Interesting. We have a casino here. It's 90 miles away called the Chumash Casino for the Chumash Indians. And I got an email from them one day. Betty and I go down once in a while and play little slots. But I got an email from them one day, and it said, Valentine's Day is coming up, and we're having a Valentine's Day contest. Write an essay and tell us why you think you should win the Valentine's Day contest, and we'll let you know. So the next thing I know, I'm being notified I won. So I just read Johnny Mathis' name. We got 2 tickets to see Johnny Mathis.
Nice.
We got to go to they have a really nice buffet there, but it was enhanced that night with a chocolate buffet where you dip all this stuff into the chocolate. Then of course, when we finally got up to the room they gave us for free, there was a big basket full of goodies, and it had a great big tub to take a bath in, and suds and all kinds of foamy stuff, But anyway, so it was a great night, and it was all comped to us by the Chumash Casino.
Now, what were the chances are you winning? Chances are.
Oh my God, I know exactly. Well, I won a few things there. One time
that was his big song. Chances are.
Oh, chances are. Yeah.
Chances are.
I was sitting in my seat one day, and somebody walked up and go, "Are you Royce Eddings?" And I went, "Yes." They go, "You just won the cruise." I won a cruise there. Yeah. And then they'd have some other little things, So they gave Chumash Casino.
You mean when you went there, you won a cruise while you were there?
Yeah, I won a cruise while I was there playing.
My goodness.
Another time, every Sunday they give away a brand new car. I mean, it might be Cadillac Escalade, might be a Mercedes. Once a month they give away a gigantic motorhome. So we're in there, and I get in my car and we're leaving, and somebody calls me and goes, "Hey, Royce, are you at the Chumash?" I go, "This was an architect I deal with. He's got a real unusual voice." I go, "Is this so-and-so?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I was, but I left." He goes, "They just called your name. You just won." And I'm driving down the road leaving. So I turn around, I speed back to the casino. I swear to God, I looked like O.J. Simpson in the Hertz Rent-A-Car commercial.
Oh, no.
I was running through the casino, practically knocking people out of my way, jumping over chairs and shit. And I get up there. It's at the far end where you have to go up and tell them that, "Hey, it's me," I run all the way to the far end, and I'm panting. And I go, "Royce Eddings, you called my name." They go, "Oh, you're too late. We call somebody else."
Oh, in Henderson at the El Dorado Casino, they had a paycheck drawing every week, right? Like every Thursday night or something. And I won that sucker 3 times. It was double your paycheck. So I swear, and 2 times my friends that were gambling there called me and said, "Your name's up on the board." They had a list. They put you up there.
You're kidding me.
No. And so I went and collected both times. And then the 3rd time we played at a gig from the Century 21 office I was working out of,
Yeah, we sell it.
And we played a big party for all of our customers and clients and everything at the park. And then the office paid me, right? I paid the band, but I cashed the check at the El Dorado, and I won that one. And my name was up there. So I made a lot more than you guys did, man. Shit.
Man, your stars were aligning. Look at JB. Remember JB? He came on and sang that song last week. He says, I was the only one that entered the contest. I actually wondered about that myself. It was like almost too good to be true.
I mean, there was thousands of tickets in that basket they drew out of. I mean, there could have been 5,000 tickets in there. I don't know.
Yeah, here's Michael corrected me. I spelled it D-A-N-I. It's D-H-A-N-I. Thank you, Michael. Okay, cool. All right, look at this. James Roeder, House of the Rising Sun. That is one of my favorite songs, and I've been trying to play that on the acoustic guitar since I was 14 years old, and it sounds like my brother's going to play it right.
Let me see. Let me see. My dog's going to cry now.
Back and forth there. Okay.
There is a house in New Orleans. Okay, we're at that. I can't do it with my fingers very good, but that's all the chords of it.
Hey Dan,
hey,
out on the House of the Rising Sun. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I heard him.
Here he is, everybody. Dan McNew, Just the Facts Man, fantastic podcaster. Been doing it for how many years, Dan?
Well, I've had my YouTube channel since 2006.
2006.
Dang. All right.
Okay.
Did you come on because you heard me playing House of the Rising Sun?
Well, in spite of.
Oh my God. I'm unsubscribing, man.
How about the song Boom Boom?
I wouldn't do that.
Can you do that one, Rich?
Huh?
Boom Boom. Can you do that one?
How's it go?
You got me. It's by the Animals.
Well, then how would I know if you don't know?
Hey, Caitlin, are you sure it's Touch Me, Baby? I remember. Come on, now touch
me, baby.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Was that the Animals too?
No,
Doors. That's the Doors.
Doors.
Of course,
Yeah,
it's the Doors, right? What am I talking about?
I have no idea. The Hollies. Wasn't that long, cool woman in a black dress?
The Hollies, yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I told you I was in a group years ago called The Hinges. We opened for the Doors.
The Hinges, yeah.
Hey, since we were talking about the Ed Sullivan Theater, I've got a video down here that you might want to show. It's I was up in New York City in 2003, and and I took a lot of B-roll shots of the theater itself.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and show that video. Dan, you ready?
Yeah, go ahead and click on it.
Okay, here we go.
My wife hated that I would always get her in the video, but I always got her in the shot.
Yeah, my wife hates to be 52. All right.
Now, Paul McCartney actually performed on top of that, what do you ever call it, that banner there.
Okay. Look at that. So that almost looks like physical graffiti in the building.
It does.
A little bit. Kind of the same color with similar looking windows, but not as nice.
She's waiting for me to get through doing my video shot.
Yes, the life of a podcaster. Somebody's always waiting for us to finish filming.
I know.
When I was on the Billy Hinsky show, I won trivia with Paul Schaefer was the question.
She's getting bored.
Yeah. That doesn't take long.
It's how to get tickets for the Letterman show.
Okay. How much were they, you know?
They used to always do things with Hello Deli over here.
The Carnegie Deli?
Well, it's called Hello Deli. A guy named Rupert.
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting when Johnny Carson was leaving and they were trying to decide who was going to take his show. Was it going to be Letterman? Was it going to be Leno?
That's
And
it.
that went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Okay, let me pull this back.
I got it.
Okay. And that went back and forth, and it finally went Leno. And I don't know. There was something about Leno. I actually, people were always asking you, who do you like best, Leno, the other one. And I actually liked Leno a little better, although I liked them both. Don't get me wrong. They were both funny guys. How about you guys? Who did you like better? Letterman?
I think it depended who the guest was.
I liked Leno better myself too.
I like Leno.
You know.
To me, it depended on where in time. Because there was a while I really liked David Letterman. And then there was time I liked Jay Leno better. It kind of went off and on.
Yeah. I hated to have to choose, really.
You remember Arsenio Hall?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I thought he was really funny, but everything he did kind of bombed. I mean, I thought it was a real funny show he was in, I think, with Eddie Murphy, where they were gangsters.
Yeah,
and,
he was. His acting wasn't that great, but his talk show was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought he was a very funny guy myself.
Yeah.
I was with a couple of people in New York City, and they were handing out tickets for the Merv Griffin show. So we got him for free.
Oh, Merv Griffin, yeah. Ooh.
That was in Ed Sullivan Theater as well, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Mary Jane says Letterman. Well, that's cool. I like Letterman too. It wasn't easy. It was something about Leno's. Well, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe one over the other. To be perfect.
It was kind of tough when you had to work the next day. You know, those shows were on late.
They were on late. I know.
Speaking of talk show hosts, Dick Cavett, I saw something online the other day when he had Jimi Hendrix on as a guest.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see that one?
I've seen that interview. Yeah, not lately. It's been a long time, but
Jimi Hendrix couldn't handle it. He was high, and he had to.
Yeah,
he had to leave early.
He was real quiet. He was not very talkative at all.
Then he finally said, "I think I better go. I got to go." You know, something like that. And he left early. They went to a commercial and he left.
You know, I can relate to Marvin what he's saying there.
Yeah.
You know, when I was stationed overseas for several years, and I came back, everything had changed. You know, everything had changed. The TV,
Right.
When I came back, the CB craze was going on. I had no idea what the hell was going on. The trucker thing was a big thing. Smoke Into Bandit, all those shows.
Oh yeah.
I had no clue. You know,
The CB radio and the rubber duck.
For some reason, those shows didn't really appeal to me. I didn't watch any of them.
Yeah. Smoking the Bandits were pretty funny with Jackie Gleason, you know.
Oh well, yeah, I might have seen a couple of them. Not to mention Jackie Gleason.
Yeah, he kind of played a weird character, sheriff, you know, but it was pretty funny.
Okay, actually appeared on Letterman, but never went on Leno. That's very interesting, Mary Jane. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I always figured Leno was going to get the Tonight Show because he co-hosted it, you know, in Johnny's absence many times.
Many times. Yeah. Okay, so
Dick Martin. Didn't Dick Martin co-host Johnny Carson for a while?
From Ronan Martin.
Just Dick Martin by himself.
I know.
think he co-hosted.
But that's the one you're talking about. I don't remember that personally. He may have.
He did. He co-hosted for a little bit there.
Joan Rivers did a lot of co-hosting too.
Did she?
Yeah.
She's pretty funny.
Yeah, she is pretty funny. Okay, so let me get back. I was reading off some of the black artists that Ed Sullivan brought on and gave an opportunity to, and we'll go to Richard Pryor, Lou Rawls, Nipsey Russell. What was that game show he was on for like 30 years?
Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Square. It looked like our screen right now. Yeah. That's all I remember about Nipsey Russell.
Paul Lind. There was who else was a regular? Paul Lind was a regular, and there were some other regulars on there.
John Davidson was the host.
Okay.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, Sly and the Family Stone. Sly and the Family Stone was on Sullivan. Love that band. Saw them twice at the Hollywood Palladium. Great performer, that Sly Stone. Great band. Great horn section. The Temptations, Martha and the Vandellas, Ike and Tina Turner. A lot of great stories there. You just told one, Richie. Let's see. Leslie Uggams, Sarah Vaughan, William Warfield, Diana Warwick.
Dionne Warwick. Now,
Yeah,
wait a minute. Dionne Warwick. I got
Dionne
my
Warwick.
keyboard player. My old keyboard player told me a joke about her. It's really in bad taste, so I don't know if I should tell her or not. I keep saying I don't know if I should say it or not. But now that you guys want to hear it, right?
Well, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so she was doing. I guess she got out of limousine one day, showing up some big deal, and wherever, Hollywood or New York or something, and some news guy come and said, "Dionne, those are some nice sunglasses." She says, "They ain't sunglasses, them my nostrils."
Oh, God.
Oh my God. Now, had I known that, I wouldn't have wanted to hear it.
I told you it was in bad taste, man.
No, that's
Dan,
terrible.
Dan, it's okay to laugh, man. It's okay. Told you it was a
Okay,
Rod.
so-
Rod was always in
okay.
pretty bad taste.
Wait,
So.
We're
I
gonna
had
move
one
on.
other host here from Hollywood Squares. It was Peter Marshall.
Yes.
Okay, moving on real quickly on the list. We had Flip Wilson, Jackie Wilson, Nancy Wilson, and Stevie Wonder. They were all there. Okay, now I've got to say this one. Otis Redding, before his death in a plane crash, I think we've heard that somewhere before, December 1967, soul singer Otis Redding had been booked to appear on the show the following year. So anyway, so Otis obviously didn't get the show. And so we're going to move on now. And I'm just going to go through the top 10 rock performances on the Ed Sullivan Show. And we're going to start out. Number one was the Beatles, 1964. I Want to Hold Your Hand. The world changed. It really did when Ed Sullivan introduced these youngsters from Liverpool. Like I said, what were you doing that night? Well, like 73 million other Americans, I was watching the Beatles. And my wife's sister was bouncing up and down the living room floor, screaming and crying.
I was 7 years old. I was probably playing with my little Tonka trucks.
Now, who is this?
The Beatles.
The Beatles.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Anywhere
I'm
you would
just,
have
I'm
seen
just
them
going.
on-
I'm just going to briefly run through the top 10 performances because we've already
Okay.
talked about several of them. Okay, so number two is Elvis Presley. Don't Be Cruel and Love Me Tender, 1956.
Yeah.
Number three, Janis Joplin, Raise Your Hand, 1969. And by the late 60s, Ed Sullivan must have been wondering just what the heck was going on to popular music. The psychedelic era had hit, right? He'd helped recharge the rock revolution when he brought over the Beatles. But these hippie types, they were something else altogether.
I remember when our parents thought the Beatles had long hair.
Oh, I know. That was ridiculous.
Had crazy long hair.
Hey, I got to ask you a question because I don't know for sure. Did you or did you not get Beatle boots?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, I got them later on in life.
Oh, you did. Okay, so Dad didn't buy them for you.
We tried to get some when we were young,
Exactly.
but we couldn't
All my
ever find any.
all my friends had Beatle boots. And
I
was
ended
like
up
the
with some
only
used ones when I was younger, in elementary age, that had taps on them.
taps on. Yeah. We all used to put taps
They were
on.
used Beatle boots with taps on them. You know, it was
Heel
great.
and toe.
Yeah, that was a
Hey,
fad
maybe
for a while.
shoes last longer. I didn't want to wind up like Dad. They'd get one pair of shoes when school started, and then they went to no soles, just something that looked like a shoe. And
Buster Brown.
before the school year was out, they were barefoot going to school.
Yeah, Tom McCann and Buster Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we get a pair of school shoes, and then if we were lucky, we got some tennis shoes.
Yeah.
And we usually we didn't have no like I got 5 pairs of tennis shoes right now. We didn't have that kind of 5 pairs of tennis shoes.
Oh no, that was unheard of. You got
We
new
didn't get
tennis
Converse
shoes.
till later on in life.
You got new tennis shoes when the old ones had holes in them.
Yep.
Right.
Well, you mentioned Converse. Back then, that was top shelf.
Oh yeah,
Oh, I know it
$7.
And now you look at them
$7.
today and say, what is this? You know,
I remember
compared to Air
we-
Jordans.
We used to tease each other around the neighborhood, the kids. Those are phony Converse and those are phony Levi's and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Well,
Keds
I
and-
remember one of my sister's older friends in high school walked up to me and goes, Donna's one of the best dressed girl in school, and you wear these Converse with holes in them. What's going on? I go, I don't know. Well, the truth was, Mom bought Donna's clothes. She wanted to make sure her daughter was dressed nice, and
Oh,
Dad
shoot.
bought our clothes.
No way,
And
man.
we really got the short end of the deal, And I'll never forget. Well, anyway, I don't want to talk.
And I was too young to even care about that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. When my friends were all wearing Levi brand pants, Dad was taking us to some, I don't know, kind of a
Surplus,
Oh, yeah, you're right. And there'd be jeans packaged and bound in cords. You
Right.
four or five pairs, all different colors for like $4 or something like that.
No
Anyway.
way.
I finally protested and I finally got some Levi's. Anyway,
I
so
remember when
let's
I got
get
my
back.
first real
Let's get
Grammys,
After Elvis Presley, "Don't Be Cruel and Love Me Tender" in '56, we had Janis Joplin during the psychedelic era, and Ed Sullivan was kind of starting to lose his shit a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And then afterwards, 1969, the Jackson 5, "I Want You Back." Let's see what's going on. Okay. Ed Sullivan, Broadway, 20 plus years on TV. Oh yeah. I see those things from time to time.
That would be nice. Yeah, that'd be nice to have.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Now, was the Monkees a real band?
We have, well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. I mean, think
They were
about the
put together.
album.
Weren't they put together for that
They were
TV
put
show?
together for the TV show, but they were still talented musicians.
Yeah.
And they had some good songs. I watched the show, but I also enjoyed them.
Oh no, they had some great songs. Yeah.
Yeah, they had some great songs. Yeah.
back in December '68, I came home. '66, I came home from Basic, and "I'm a Believer" was the top song. That was real big.
Stepping Stone, I'm a Believer.
Yeah.
What are
When
some
I
other-
was a kid, I used to always sing, "Hey, hey, we're the monkeys. And people say we monkey around.
That became a really
Busy
huge
singing
TV show.
to put anybody down." Anyway, that was a good song.
Valerie. They
Yeah.
had a ton of hits.
When I saw her face, dun, 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 dun,
I'm a
That's a-
Believer.
That's a Neil
Yeah.
Diamond song.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah, Neil Diamond wrote that.
I'll be darned. Yeah, you never think he'd write that one, right?
No. Hey, okay, Rich, lay down some monkeys.
I don't know if I can hit this. I'm not sure. Stepping Stone. I'm not sure. Stepping Stone.
Sounds more like Gordon Lightfoot.
Yeah, we actually did that one in my 50s.
How about Last Train to Clarksville?
Oh, remember we used to do that when
I know.
we
I
had the
know.
music book and you used to read the melody and I did the chords.
Yeah, and the intro and stuff. And Robin, our older brother's friend, would come over, Larry Moog. And even if I ran into him today, he'd go, "You still playing Last Train to Clarksville?"
In those days, kids like that, there wasn't many people around that could really play too much of anything
No.
around the neighborhood.
I walked outside one day, and of course, you were good friends with Johnny Simmons, right?
Right.
Johnny and Bobby. Well, they had an older brother, Billy Graham.
Yeah, they used to jam.
Just got back from Vietnam, and I was out in the front yard one day, and I hear the Beatles' "Day Tripper" playing. I'm like, oh my God. So I walked down the street and went in their backyard. Here's Billy Graham playing "Day Tripper" on a little electric guitar with his buddy.
All right. Yeah.
He taught me how to play it. To this day, I still play that,
Oh, yeah. Day Tripper. That's a heavy duty.
Yeah, no, that was a
Heavy
great
duty
song.
one.
Yeah. Okay, so the Jackson 5, "I Want You Back." Okay. That was number 4. Number 5 is James Brown, "Papa's Got a Brand New Bag."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Did we do that one? Come on, sister. Is that one?
"Papa's Got a Brand New Bag." Da-na-na-na-na-na. I don't know.
Oh,
if
yeah. Let me go. No, it's oh shoot. Whatever.
Can anybody confirm? Can anybody confirm this story here? Stephen Stills of.
That's true.
I was a Stephen Stills fan long before Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. He was great, solo guy, but he tried out for the Monkees and went home and told his roommate to go for the part, and that was Peter Tork. That's true, Dan.
That's a true story.
Wow. Thank you, JB. The stuff you learn hanging out with your musicians.
What about was it? Let me see. Waylon Jennings played in the Beach Boys,
No.
or was it Merle Haggard?
Glenn Campbell.
Huh?
Glenn Campbell.
Well, yeah, Glenn Campbell, but I think Waylon Jennings might have too played guitar in the Beach Boys. Are you sure?
Wow.
You
Yeah.
positive?
Yeah.
Daddy Bog would know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying he doesn't know, but I know that
We
Waylon
don't
Jennings
question-
played with some of those people back in those days. Maybe it
We
wasn't.
never question Daddy Bog unless he's asking about what was that song you were asking about on Otis Redding?
Dock of the Bay.
No. The one that he
Otis-
didn't.
I'll try a little tenderness.
No, not that. The one he actually didn't sing. It was somebody else.
Funky Broadway.
Funky Broadway. That's right.
Wilson Pickett.
All right.
Wilson Pickett.
Mustang Sally fame. That's right. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So I guess we should have questioned that one because I was like, no, I don't think it's on here, Daddy Boggs.
Yeah.
Okay, so James Brown. Then we go to Buddy Holly and the Crickets. And this predates about everybody. 1957. That'll Be the Day, Peggy Sue, songs like that were performed.
Well, what
Yeah.
Rich might be thinking of is the Beach Boys did do a country album done by country artists.
Okay.
And Willie Nelson singing Warmth of the Sun. They had different country artists singing Beach Boys songs.
So
But
now
Waylon
we're getting
Jennings
close.
It wasn't Waylon Jennings.
Well, let me see.
It
Okay.
was called Stars and Stripes. And it was all
Okay.
country artists. Yeah.
That's interesting what Marvin's saying too there. Okay, thank you, Marvin. We really appreciate all these great comments in the chat. That really
Yeah, they
really,
do it.
really enhances the show. We really enjoy this. So anyway, after Buddy Holly and the Crickets in 1957, number 7 is the Beach Boys, Good Vibrations, in 1968. And I will tell you right now, I did love the Beach Boys. What's funny is my cousins all lived where my grandparents settled in California, and we were in Southern Nevada. And me and my friends were big. Well, everybody loved the Beach Boys. You can't deny the Beach Boys. But we were all big Beatles fans. And every time I went to see my cousin Richie, Johnny James.
Oh yeah, Buckaroos.
Yeah. Johnny James, our cousin. Every time I went to see him, Johnny would go, boy, the Beach Boys are way better than the Beatles. I go, no, wait a minute, man. The Beatles are great. He goes, no. You name a Beatles hit and I'll name a Beach Boys hit. And we would exhaust ourselves, and it usually end in a draw. And it's not like I didn't like the Beach Boys, but for some reason I wound up arguing on the side of them against the Beach Boys.
Well, in 1964, the first time they appeared, I'd never seen them perform. So it's a Sunday night. I'm out with my friends. It's like 20 to 8.
Okay.
I said to my friends, I'll see you tomorrow. I said, where are you going? I said, the Beach Boys are on Ed Sullivan. And they gave me a puzzled look. So I finally got to see what they look like.
Oh,
That was
okay.
in 1964. They had the cars on the stage, and they sang "I Get Around in Windy." And then again, then in 1968, the one you're referring to, they wore these white suits on the Ed
Okay,
Sullivan
yeah,
show.
I remember seeing that. There's a question for you, Daddy Boggs, by Marvin.
Do you know if the Beach Boys toured in 70? I'm really not sure when Brian made his comeback. He was hooked up with Dr. Eugene Landy there for a few years. I'm not sure exactly what year he made his comeback with them. It was
Okay.
called Brian's. It was called Brian's Back.
Okay.
No.
Okay, when the Crickets missed the rehearsals, Sullivan remarked to Holly that the band must not have been excited to be on the show. Holly replied, I hope they are damn more excited than I am. Boy, that's a great way to stand up for the guys, you know. Thanks, Michael. That's great, man.
I just wanted to add one more thing. I got a present not too long ago. It's
Oh,
got
yeah.
90 songs in here. You know, because some of their songs they're hard to understand what words they're saying, especially some of the car songs. You got to be a car buff to know all the terminology. So this book has all the lyrics on 90 songs. Nice present
wow.
I got.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Wow. You've got some friends out there in Cyberland. You know, let's see. Beach Boys.
And I just won a book last week on Beach Boys Talk. I should be receiving.
I saw a picture of that. You showed me that. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, cool.
Something else for the room.
So that show, Beach Boys Talk, that still comes on every week.
Yeah, but they're off this coming Tuesday.
I never see the advertisement for it anymore. Was that YouTube or just Facebook?
It's advertised on Facebook, but they show it. They're on YouTube.
Okay.
They're able to do more things on YouTube. It's a little bit more lenient on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, that's an enjoyable show to watch. The two brothers. And,
Greg is a very talented musician.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on just a second. Getting back to Waylon Jennings again.
Okay.
It says that he played with Buddy Holly on a tour, that he played bass for him, but then he gave up a seat on the plane that crashed.
Right.
Waylon Jennings did.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did hear that story. That's right.
Well, Dion was going to go on that flight from Dion and the Belmonts.
Okay.
And he thought the price was too high, so he stayed back. He didn't go.
Wow.
So he gave up his seat.
That was Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper.
Right.
Chantilly Lace.
Yeah.
Hey, James, last week's show was on Otis Redding, actually. Okay, go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
You know, it's kind of odd how, you know, some of these plane crashes that killed these rock stars, how there's always a story about how somebody gave up their seat.
Somebody gave up their seat.
That was the same thing with Stevie Ray Vaughan. Eric Clapton gave up his seat to Stevie Ray Vaughan in the helicopter. So just, wow.
Yeah,
so,
that's crazy.
So if somebody ever offers you a seat, don't take it. Get the hell off the plane.
Which story was it where they like drew straws or something, and somebody got the short straw and didn't get to get on the plane and was kind of bummed about it, and then the plane crashed and everybody got killed.
You know, we talk about the Ed Sullivan Theater and Ed Sullivan's show. I read a story where they almost had a near disaster at one of the shows. They had a lion tamer out there, and I guess he was going to do the lion taming. They didn't have a cage, and the lion tamer complained to Ed Sullivan, you know, I don't think the stage is big enough for me to do my act. Oh, it's fine, just do it. So he's up there doing his act. The lion got out of control, enough so where Ed Sullivan ran out into the audience to get away from the lion, and they had to use shooting a blank gun to get control of the cat.
Oh, so man. You're lucky that worked. Wow. Okay, we're going to move on now to number 8, and of the best, top 10 rock performances on the Ed Sullivan Show, and that was a Jefferson Airplane, Crown of Creation, 1968. Here they were, the consummate psychedelic anti-establishment San Francisco band, and Ed Sullivan. Did that mean they were selling out? Nah. Everyone wanted to play for Ed. And the Airplane, the number one rock group in the country, the host said gamely, did their part on September 29th, 1968, performing the title track from their 4th studio album, backed up by Glenn McKay's Headlights, all of the pulsating liquid blobs. With all of the pulsating liquid blobs. Wow. That's pretty psychedelic. Okay, so that was number 8. And then this is kind of a funny one here. Number 9 is The Doors. And Jim Morrison was told, when you do Light My Fire, you cannot say, girl, we couldn't get much higher. And he goes, okay, I won't. I promise I won't. but he got up there and sang it anyway. And he was banned from ever performing on the show again.
Yeah, he probably didn't care.
No, and he probably didn't care. Right. Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of a long story, but that's the gist of it. It's like a page and a half long. But anyway, some of this stuff, like the Rolling Stones, "Let's Spend the Night Together," they had to change the lyrics of that, to be on Ed Sullivan. And when Mick Jagger sang, which should have been "Let's Spend the Night Together," he would roll his eyes, just kind of signaling everybody that he was kind of pissed about the whole thing. And then you had, the top 10 performance was actually the Rolling Stones, "Ruby Tuesday," and "Let's Spend the Night Together." And they were also cautioned earlier in the day that the CBS censors did not want to hear them sing the title phrase of "Let's Spend the Night Together." Instead,
that's the song, isn't it?
they were supposed to substitute the phrase "Let's spend some time together."
Let's spend some time together.
Let that time be tonight.
You have a great video of the Vanilla Fudge. You got a great video of the Vanilla Fudge doing "You Keep Me Hanging On," the old Supreme song. That's a great video on Ed Sullivan's show.
Yeah, that's a great song, Vanilla Fudge. I think I have that CD. I think it was part of
my drummer from Richie and the Crocodiles recorded with Vanilla Fudge.
Oh, did he?
He was working in the studio, and they didn't have their drummer their drummer they were going to use yet. And they used him on some tracks and recordings and stuff.
Well, there's so many different performance lists because Ed Sullivan was on from 48 to 71. That's a significant amount of time. I'm just going to quickly run through another list. The Association did "Along Comes Mary." The Supremes did "My World Is Empty Without You." The Rolling Stones did "Painted Black." Johnny Rivers, and I love Johnny Rivers' music.
Yeah,
"Baby, I Need Your Lovin'." Yeah, he's great, isn't he?
He's like the king of cover songs.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
And you got Linda Ronstadt. She's the queen.
Right.
And then the Association did "Never My Love." The Rolling Stones, "Ruby Tuesday." Mamas and Papas. What is it here?
Again.
Creek Alley.
Yeah.
The Beatles, "I Want to Hold Your Hand." Herman's Hermits, "Just a Little Bit Better." Tom Jones, "It's Not Unusual to Be."
That's a good song.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And growing up in Vegas like we did, Tom Jones was always performing out there.
He was there for 30 years.
I know. He was pretty much a staple there. And
Delilah, "What's New Pussycat?"
What's New Pussycat?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It looks like Michael Nolan has confirmed what I said about Jim Morrison not caring about coming back with Sullivan.
He didn't care about nothing. Except for the music, right?
If you scroll up a little bit, you'll see it.
How about Jose Feliciano? Did he ever appear on that show?
Okay, here we go. All right. Raymond Zelrick later said that Morrison was nervous and sang that by mistake when confronted and told they wouldn't be able to come back. Morrison said, "So what? We've already done the Ed Sullivan show."
He was the pianist on the Doors.
That's the right attitude. Okay, so anyway, let's see. Gary and the Pacemakers. Ferry Across the Mersey during the British invasion. Okay.
Now we're getting back to
Mersey. Okay, I didn't even notice what the song was when I said that. That's just the
"Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying."
Okay, yeah. Great band. Okay, Lulu to
So With Love.
The Beatles, "She Loves You." The Byrds, Turn.
Oh, yeah.
The Turtles, "She'd Rather Be With Me."
Happy Together.
Yeah. Friends of Distinction, "Grazing in the Grass." Can you dig it?
Can you dig it, baby? Yeah, that's a good song. I love
How about Spanky and Our Gang?
I got a story I'm not going to tell about "Grazing on the Grass." Go ahead. Spanky and Our Gang. They're not listed here, but yeah, that was a good band.
Yeah, Sunday will never be the same.
What about the Grassroots?
Yeah, Midnight Confessions.
They were on Ed
Sullivan. Midnight Confessions. That was a big song.
I saw them several times. You went and saw them too. They were with Canned Heat at the convention
yeah.
center.
Let's
Yeah.
You
work
guys all came
together.
back saying how much better you like canned heat. I'm like, no
Right.
way, man.
Canned Heat was my very first concert ever.
Yeah, he was great. They were way
They
better.
were great, but the Grassroots, they were a
Well,
lot more. I guess you'd say they were a lot.
a lot more
They were
pop.
just different,
Yeah, he
and a
was
lot more
badass.
pop. Yeah, and I was probably
Yeah.
more pop at that age, you know.
Yeah, you were. You were. Yeah,
I mean,
you
yeah,
were.
you were.
You
No,
always had a big lollipop in your hand. Yeah.
I was definitely pop.
So, so the Beach Boys, I Get Around, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Proud Mary,
Oh yeah.
The Fifth Dimension, Aquarius, and Let the Sunshine In.
They were pretty
Okay,
bad.
so during his 23 years on, Ed Sullivan's show changed the landscape of American television, and he really did. Sullivan's stage was home to iconic performances by groundbreaking artists, just from every genre. Okay.
That's right.
So yeah, so that was the Ed Sullivan Show, and we all remember it. It wasn't mandatory Ed Sullivan in our house like some of the shows were. Dad was a country fan, and it was mandatory hee haw. And we resisted at first because we were outside playing with our friends, cops and robbers and killing each other and shit. But anyway,
Hee-haw wasn't bad.
we actually, I think you did too. I really learned to like hee haw. It was just so much.
I did too. They had all them Playboy bunnies on there and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Bobby Benton and a couple other ones. Remember? Yeah. Wearing those tiny little hot pants, Levi shorts and stuff.
Right.
And I'm just a little kid, and how
Funny
can
you say
and I'm
that.
like,
I was thinking the exact same thing.
And Hee-Haw had their own hound dog.
Oh yeah.
And the big brown,
Yeah,
big
real
brown
dog. Yeah.
oh, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
He just laid there every time. He just didn't do nothing.
And it was the old lady that would hit people with her bag. What was her name?
Oh, that's
Ruth Buzzy.
Ruth Buzzy from Laughing.
Yeah.
yeah.
She's on Dean Martin roast doing that.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they would be sitting on the they'd be sitting on the bench, and she'd be whacking them.
The old guy would come up, and
Yeah.
the old perverted guy would come up and say stuff to her, and then she'd.
Yeah, you want to go to my place?
But I tell you,
I just read.
That came on Laughing, right? Roland Martin's Laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fickle
I
finger of fate.
fantastic guitar player though Roy Clark was. Oh my
I
God.
saw
yeah.
Roy Clark live, and Grandpa Jones was there from Hee
Yeah.
Haw. Plus,
Right.
they had Minnie Pearl,
Minnie
was a
Pearl.
stand-up comedian warm up, and
She had the
Mr.
price
Haney
tag on
was
the
a
hat.
warm up too.
Did she have the price tag on the hat?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
those
Oh,
two,
yeah.
Mr. Haney and Minnie Pearl. I don't know, can't remember his name. They were so funny, man, doing their
And,
comedy.
Roy Clark was pretty funny too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I
was
loved
funny.
watching.
Roy
I
Clark
loved.
was funny, but I mean Buck Owens.
I loved watching Roy Clark's face while he
Yeah.
played guitar. He was
made the
funny as
face,
hell.
and he did make the face.
His face was part of the fingering of the fretboard, I think.
Me and Jackie saw him on our wedding night at the Frontier Hotel. Her dad got us comp to the show, and she was still in her dress with long train on it. I had a white tux. You were in that wedding.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we went right there from the reception, whatever, right to the Frontier. We had a room, and we saw that show that night.
Right.
Pretty badass show.
Oh yeah. I was at what was that one casino out on the Strip that always had shows? I can't remember which one it was, but I'm talking back, 1970, right? And
the Sahara was one of them that always
it might have been the Sahara. They had a pretty not a too big of a concert venue, but
yeah, it wasn't all that big, but
no, it
remember
wasn't all
Robin
that
worked
big.
there. Robin worked there for a
yeah.
while. He could get you comped in anything in there.
Oh yeah, I got to see Don Rickles. Robin comped me and Betty to see Don Rickles.
Oh my gosh, you didn't sit in the front row, did you?
No. But the seats were okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm at I think it was the Sahara, and the band War was playing.
I've seen them.
And it was kind of like, and you know me, I don't have a prejudiced bone in my body, but the whole West Side turned out, and they were like on this side of the aisle, and we were over here. And I'm not exaggerating about War's up there performing, and about every 15 minutes a fight broke out on that side,
Are you really kidding me?
No, but when they came in, I mean, every guy was dressed like Superfly, a colored suit with a great big giant hat, and the women were all dressed in the nines and sexy, and it was really quite a show. I mean, it was like a that side, I mean, we were there in Levi's and shit, you know, and long hair. But that side of the aisle was like a fashion show. It was pretty cool.
I stayed 1 year. I stayed 1 year at the Riviera, and Quincy was being filmed in the lobby. Yeah, Jack Klugman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I still there.
I was driving to the Strip to work when I was a teenager. We all worked in the kitchens out there for summer money. And I pulled up and I see this big crowd around this one casino entrance. And they keep redoing something while I'm sitting at the stoplight. And it's Sean Connery, James Bond, filming a James Bond movie, continuing to do this scene where he got out of his car and went into the front of the casino entrance.
And you had that other detective show, Dantana or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I forget his name. He was a detective in Vegas.
So, you know, guys, I've been one of my co-hosts said to me earlier today, we had a long conversation. He goes, you know, Royce, you keep covering these same old bands. I mean, they're like 60 years old now. He goes, and so I thought, you know what, maybe next week we'll cover the top new bands from the last 5 to 10 years. I don't know how far you go back and still call them a new band. I still think of the 20-year-old Foo Fighters as a new band, you know. And, you know, from time to time, I will admit that I kind of fall into a little bit of a time warp where I've got the music I love to hear. I've got it with me. If it's not with me, it's playing on the radio anyway. It's still popular. And
I don't even know any. I don't even know any of the new bands. I'm like somebody that
really. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not since I think grunge did I pay attention to a new subgenre that I really liked. I loved grunge, you know. And Nirvana is still one of the top ones for me. But Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains. I mean, I like, you know, Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam. I mean, I liked all of them, really. They were all good, all the ones that I heard. So anyway, that not since the grunge, which is like 30 years old now, you know, I almost associate them to me as new bands, you know, because that's when I made a big turn towards another subgenre from, you know.
You know what? It depends on the crowd you want to deal with too. I mean, you can't, you know. It seems like you can't go to everything.
I mean, if we have a show on the top, I looked up the top bands, the ones that were the top 5 in 2022, and I sent them to my buddy, and I said, well, which ones of these guys do you want to cover? And I'm pretty sure he didn't know any of them, you know. Yeah. But we may try a couple of newer shows. I look at my analytics, and when I look at the age of my viewers, 90% of them are 60 and up. You know, the demographics. And I thought, well, you know, I wouldn't mind having some 20 and 30. And I think 10% are from 20 to 30, you know, but the majority of them are over 60. And is that what's going on with everybody? Are these just the people that are watching podcasts? I don't know.
I think we're all grateful for the era that we grew up with.
Yeah. You know, I see a festival come into town with a huge lineup and people are just dying to get these tickets. I don't know any of the bands. So sometimes, you know, I'll go out and I'll look at some of their videos, and most of the music is stuff I won't listen to. I don't understand it. You know, it's just totally different.
You know that.
Well, you know, my
really
17-year-old grandson lives with us, and his girlfriend comes over frequently, and he doesn't listen to the music I listen to. It's kind of a new type of rap, more or less. And I'd love to have him on the show and have him talk about what people his age are listening to. I think that would be
that would be a good idea.
Yeah,
that would be a good idea. Have somebody that's in tune with it, kind of present it a little bit, you know.
And Michael's saying the Black Veiled Brides are awesome. Now, is this a real current band? Michael, been around 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Because I've actually haven't heard of them. But there's a lot of newer stuff that I haven't heard of. And nor do I ever hear it on the radio that I notice. I don't know about you guys.
I probably don't know any bands that come out in the last at least 5 years, probably, because I haven't really been listening to any rock or anything, any new stuff or anyway, you know.
Well, like I don't even listen to radio anymore.
Yeah. You just listen to the stuff you like.
Basically, yeah.
It doesn't matter how dated. I can put I can put Chuck Berry in and not feel like I'm missing anything, not knowing who's new out there.
You know, I probably would like a lot of the new ones, but I just haven't been checking it out.
Well, the truth of the matter is every new generation wants their own music and everything else.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of their identity. Just like us. I mean, you know, we had the Beatles, we had the Stones, we had Led Zeppelin, we had all those amazing bands, you know, Santana, Grateful, all those stuff that came, all the guys that came out of Woodstock. And then we got the grunge stuff, and I liked all that too. But, you know, these kids that are like 17, 18, 20-ish, early 20s, they wanted some new music, and they get it too. And
Right.
I kind of miss out on that stuff. Every once in a while, like I think I was stuck in a little bit of a music time warp until the later 80s, when the whole family was watching MTV together. And it was like, that kind of got me current, you know.
Yeah,
But
I wish I would have done a lot more. I wish I would have, you know, dug a lot more into the latest over the years. But you know, I went into Christian music or writing Christian music, and I just basically stopped listening to everything else except for the classic rock and stuff.
Right.
I still watch concerts now and then. You know,
Right.
I'll pick Stones or Beatles. I even watched Frank Sinatra concert the other night, and it was great. I couldn't believe how good it was.
Betty and I were listening to Frank Sinatra the other night. I mean, yeah, those guys were good. That's the stuff that our mother liked.
Yeah.
Whereas dad liked country, you know. Anyway, so there was like a tug of war, you know, with us. Dad wanted us to be country fans. Mom would rather us like something else. She whispered to me one day, "Well, you know, back in New York, Royce, don't tell your father I said this, but country was kind of for lower class people."
Oh, Dan, that Las Vegas detective was Robert York. Dantana?
Yeah.
Robert York.
Okay. Well, Michael Nolan just said, I asked him a question. The Black Veil Brides are a bit goth, a bit theatrical, but with great songs. It's always in the song, guys. Yes, it is. That's exactly right. It's always in the song.
That's right.
You do have kids that have gone to concerts with their parents years ago who like the old stuff.
Well, and that's very true. I can remember, and I've said this before, thinking in 1969, well, people still like Led Zeppelin 10 years. Well, here we are, 50 years later. And yes, they still like Led Zeppelin. Every time I turn the radio on, I can't drive for an hour without hearing a Led Zeppelin song, to be honest.
I think the Doors are more popular now with Morrison gone. I think they're more popular.
So the question is, what are people going to be listening to 60 years from now?
Oh man, I don't even want to think about it.
It's anybody's guess.
No, I know.
I may still be alive. If I'm still alive,
listening to the stuff that's popular now, are they going to skip back to what we're listening to, basically?
You think they'd run out of ideas with music?
Right. Okay, well, listen, guys. This was a fun show, and we'll explore some new music before too much longer. But I just want to say to everybody in the chat, you know, we really appreciate you guys. I mean, this really makes the show. All you guys interacting with the show and leaving your comments and asking questions and things like that. And
I want to say hello. I want to say hello to the chat because I'm not logged in. So,
okay. All righty. And that happens sometimes. And I want to thank you guys, you know, Daddy Boggs, Dan, Just the Facts Man, Richie Eddings at Jesus Movement. You guys were fantastic tonight. I really appreciate all your help. And I think this was a great show. Thank you, everybody. And that's what's going on in Royce's world today. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night. Bye-bye.
all right.